Hey y'all, this is Coach Jesse here at CrossFit Hermitage. As we move into the winter months, I thought it would be a great opportunity to talk a little bit about mental health and how this time of year tends to play a little bit more of an effect on that. You may have heard of things like seasonal depression or the winter blues, and that's because these are very real things. There's a clinical term for this, and it's known as seasonal affective disorder. And I know what you're thinking, it spells out SAD, really lays the groundwork for what we're going to talk about. So this seasonal affective disorder is a type of depression that tends to spring up a bit more during the fall and winter months, but it's directly correlated to a lack of sun exposure. Now this makes sense when you look at it. The weather's changing, maybe we're outside a little bit less, and when you pair this with stuff like the stress of the holidays, traveling, looking at getting things prepped for the new year, and hosting family, all these things are a recipe for disaster. So what I wanted to do today was offer up some tips that will hopefully help you out during this time. Number one, we're gonna talk about exercise, all right? If you have routines and habits that you've been building throughout the year, I highly encourage you to hold on to those. We're gonna ride those through this time of year and are really gonna help us stay on track with things. If you're someone who is looking to get into this, we have a great space here at CrossFit Hermitage. We'd love to have a conversation with you, but also doing something as simple as going for a walk every day. All right, getting outside, walking around for 10, 15 minutes can do wonders. Every time we're active and we exercise, the body releases endorphins, and those are some of those feel-good chemicals that are gonna help us with that mood. Number two, we're gonna talk about light therapy, all right? Now, the obvious answer to this is sun exposure, okay? Looking back at the SAD, directly correlates, right? But what we're looking for is that exposure into the eyes. And days when we're not able to get that from the natural source of the sun, we can look to artificial sources like full spectrum bulbs, all right? Key thing here is exposure to the eyes. Now, number three, looking at more of this kind of light-based stuff, we're talking about vitamin D, okay? The best source for this is that sunlight, but if we can't get that, again, we need to look at some different sources. So supplementing and finding good whole food sources, great option here for this, all right? The US is actually one of the most vitamin D deficient countries in the world, so we can all benefit from working on this more. Number four, we're gonna talk about relaxation training, okay? So what we're gonna do here is purposefully tense up the body and then relax. All right, now the purpose of this is to try to begin to differentiate those times where you're tense and stressed and those times you're relaxed. Because we don't always know when we move into those states of stress and tension, but when we recognize that we are, then we can hopefully bring ourselves out of it. All right, number five is gonna be getting outside. Now this is gonna check a lot of those boxes that we just spoke about. We're gonna get some exercise through walking, hopefully, maybe getting out on a trail, just spending time out there. Two, we're gonna get out in the sun, hopefully, weather permitting, and this is gonna help with some of that vitamin D and even that light exposure, all right? But there's also studies that just show spending time in green spaces directly affects key factors in the brain that affect depressive states, okay? So being outside equals more happy, all right? So I hope this has been helpful for you. I'd love to hear about the changes you make and how they're helpful for you. So reach out to us here at CrossFit Hermitage. We'd love to hear more, and we'll see you soon.